Shalom. This week's Sedra is Sedra Tzav. There are people in this world, and I'm sure some of my viewers are some of them, who literally find 1,000 new emails in their inbox every single day. To pay attention to them, to answer them at all, even to just simply categorize them, is impossible. Even more difficult is filtering through your emails throughout the day, no matter how many you receive, and deciding which ones to answer now, which ones to answer later, and which ones simply just never to answer. The sheer distraction of trying to decide which emails to answer and which is to ignore is enough to turn any day into an unproductive one. Being carried away with any sort of endeavor that isn't central to one's goals destroys one's ability to accomplish. This Dvar Torah will not only give its viewers the key to avoiding many distractions life presents. This Dvar Torah will focus on one aspect of distraction, that of one's lack of self-esteem. In explaining an esoteric part of this week's Sedra, this Dvar Torah will hope to aid the viewer in pushing past the distractions of a lack of confidence. When facing a challenge, doubt creeps into all of us. It's natural. We begin to question whether we can accomplish all that we've set out to do. Will our talents be sufficient to meet the challenge facing us? Will our past mistakes handicap our future objectives? A major part of our hesitation in moving forward are the concerns of our past errors. It's natural to think that past imperfections prevent future refinement. In our Sedra, we find a seemingly senseless ritual in the inauguration of the tabernacle. Moshe was to bring a number of rams, the second of which was the inauguration ram, place his hands upon it, and then, as we find recorded in the Torah, and I read just for accuracy's sake, I apologize, and he slaughtered it, and Moshe took some of its blood and placed it on the cartilage of Aaron's right ear, on the thumb of his right hand, and on the big toe of his right foot. The placing of blood on Aaron's various extremities is odd. And while it is easy to claim that there are hidden esoteric mystical concepts happening here, there must be some surface idea that makes sense as well. Tosfos explains that Moshe placed the blood on Aaron's ear to ward off the messengers of the prosecutor. Who is this persecutor? The kategor is a symbolic figure that reminds us of our sins. Not literally a prosecutor stands before God and decries our sins. The kategor that's described is the voice that plays hindrance in our ears, telling us that we can't possibly accomplish all that we set out to do. Moshe places blood on Aaron's ear to say, ignore the voices that proclaim that accomplishment here in the tabernacle is impossible. As the Kohen Gadol Aaron and those that follow him will lead the people into greatness, and to do so, they will need to ignore their shortcomings of the past. That same message applies to each of us. We too must ignore our past mistakes, our sins and our shortcomings, and move forward toward great personal and communal accomplishment. Shabbat Shalom.